Good. Emmanuel is an unbelievably accomplished man, and he's a sophomore at the University of Pennsylvania. And he's going to share some things with us this morning to continue our theme of inspiration. So I'm going to turn it over to Emmanuel.
Thanks, Francine. I'm very happy to be part of this call. Well, I'm going to share a little bit about myself. I'm a sophomore in Wharton School at UPenn, and I've been part of LeFrak-Friedberg Scholars. It's been a year or so, a year and a half. And last January, that's where I want to talk about. We had a great trip to New York, and it's actually my first time that I got to see the financial system of the United States. And it's actually when I decided that I want to join this banking world. So far, with a couple of friends at my school, I've been part of a student-led organization that is actually looking forward to um, doing some of those initiatives back at home in our home countries. I'm from Rwanda. And what I'm inspired to do, and because actually of amazing people that I've met through Bridge2Rwanda, as well as LeFrak Francine as well, I want to give back to my home community. I know I want to start my career in investment banking. This summer, I will be joining one of the firms. But in my long term, I just want to do private equity in my home country to help businesses grow financially with because I want to develop my country. And as well, I was very inspired by the fact that you're working with faraway girls, and that's also one of the major things that I want to do. I myself, I had to travel miles to get this amazing education at Wharton, but I don't want that the next generation will have to do the same. Uh, I want to build schools back at home so that, uh, yeah, children will have to study where they live. Children will have to gain global education and continue the journey of developing our country. I'm very pleased to be here, and I was very inspired by all the actions that all of you are doing.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for sharing.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. So now I'm going to turn it over to Grace, who's a junior at Lehigh University and also from Rwanda.
Thank you, Francine. My name is Grace Ngabire Kuzwa. I'm a junior at Lehigh University, doing a dual degree in chemical engineering and finance. I was also pleased to be part of the LeFrak-Friedberg gathering in New York last January. We learned a lot. Though at first I wasn't seeing myself through the program because it was mostly the financial firms that were present, and it felt somehow that I wasn't really like connected, which was my first thought. But again, by hearing from JP Morgan and UBS, I realized actually I had an interest in finance that I haven't like cultivated really well. And so after co-founding Lehigh Africa Business Club at Lehigh last summer and doing some work with Lehigh community by bringing by shedding light to some trade and investment news on the African continent and Lehigh Valley in general, I realized actually I'm more interested in finance than I thought. So I'm really thankful and grateful that you organized that event. I really learned a lot. And thank you for all the work that you do for girls like Fawe back home, also the Rwandan artists who do the jewelry things. That was very inspirational because that was the first event I attended organized by LeFrak Foundation. And I was really inspired by the work that you do to help all these women improve their financial status and their wealth and health in general. And I'm so proud to be a LeFrak Foundation Scholar. And thank you for all the work. And thank you for all these ambassadors who are here and supporting the cause. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I feel so frustrated that we can't do our summit together, like we did last January. So hopefully by the fall, we'll be able to do a summit, and we'll have more inspiration, more connections, and more mentoring. So I look forward to seeing you in person, and I'm sure everyone on the call feels the same way. So now I'm going to turn it over to Patern, who's a sophomore at the University of Rochester, which must be cold up there, but where is Patern? Hi, Patern, how are you?
Hi, thank you, Francine. I'm doing great. So thank you so much for having me on this call. I'm actually back in Rwanda. So I came last week in Rwanda. If I first introduce myself, my name is Patern, and I'm a sophomore at the University of Rochester. I'm pursuing a degree in electrical and computer engineering and minoring in business. So I've had a great experience since graduating from Bridge2Rwanda, where I was really interested in the idea of technology and business and entrepreneurship. And I had the privilege to be a LeFrak-Friedberg scholar. And the LeFrak Foundation is truly an organization that values the idea of helping people by empowering them through entrepreneurship and giving them the financial stability and giving them the tools to be able to be financially free and stable. So once I get that privilege to be in the scholarship program, I was really grateful for that. And last winter when we went in New York City, my first time to be in New York City, I was really amazed by the connection we got to have. I met different people from great companies. For instance, we went to 2Sigma, which is like a data science startup, a very big company, and we went to grow with Google. And as someone who is passionate about technology, I was able to make those meaningful connections. I was able to see the potential in technology, which actually continued to motivate me to go deep into applying the knowledge I'm getting from this great education in the US and reaching back to my long-term goal of being able to bring back great innovations to my home country in Africa. And talking about that, I'm actually in Rwanda because I'm testing, there's a new venture that I'm trying to go into. It's a new technology. It's a web application which will allow customers to access services online. So I'm testing that platform that I've been building since the summer. And most of that motivation came through my connection when I went to the event in New York City through the LeFrak Foundation. And I'm trying to see how I can use my skills to solve different issues in my home country and actually give the businesses and the customers the stability through using technology. So I'm really grateful for the opportunities that I've been getting, the connections, and I thank Francine and everyone here for the support and all the inspiration you give to us and how you open our eyes to all these great opportunities and all these possibilities out here. Thank you so much.
So, and how you've been surviving during COVID. So Grace, I'd love to hear from you.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing, that what was hard was getting to make friends my freshman year. And Patan talked about that, so I'm not going to go into details on that. Maybe for the COVID part, it was really hard being away from family when all this pandemic crisis was happening. And it was really hard to know what is happening home, or sometimes it gets hard for them to understand what is going on here because it's differently, like different cultures, different times, different experiences. But how I coped up with that was talking to friends, of course, family, but I also had some research that I was doing with professors that helped me actually feeling like I'm doing something and get away from sitting down and get into my head thinking about the pandemic. And actually it kind of helped me because I end up taking this initiative and working with the professor at Lehigh to design a new course at Lehigh on engineering of coffee and cosmetics. It's a chemical engineering class, which I put into most of my work and searched a lot about coffee and cosmetics, and it took away that sad, I don't know, maybe bad feelings and energy from the COVID and social distancing around.
Thank you, Grace. I'd love to hear from Emmanuel now, how he, how COVID impacted and what challenges he faced.
Well, at first, my campus closed. University of Pennsylvania closed, so everybody had to go home. And first I thought, should I go back to Kigali, where we'll be learning 6 hours after, the time of Philadelphia. So it was challenging at first. I got to stay with family friends here in the US, where I spent the whole summer. And learning virtually is really tough. It is tough because you start to realize that maybe there are certain things that we take for granted. For instance, the fact that you are sitting down and another student is sitting down and both of you are studying. So when you're virtual, you don't have somebody else there. So you have to build a discipline. Before your student is your fellow student colleagues are keeping accountable of you, but you're just in your room. So if you don't have a discipline, the virtual world will be very hard. So I realized that about myself early on, and I started building discipline. And obviously we can't ignore this summer event, like Black Lives Matter. It was so emotional seeing what was happening in this country. And yeah, it was so emotional, and actually seeing it opened my eyes as well in terms of poverty and income disparities, either here or back at home. So I feel like there was challenges, but it was eye-opening as well. And it's where I started building actually my passion of building life for everyone, equity financial system for people in my country. That's one of the mission that I have, at least as of now. And anything apart from COVID coming in the US, I had to open my horizon. Before I thought, well, I'm coming from Rwanda, one of the smartest kid, and I reached in the US and I realized that I'm in a different place. I came in the US to do actually to be an architect, but I changed. I had to be open to possibilities. I believe that is a good challenge. It was a challenge, but it's a good one. That's it.
Thank you. Gato, who's a sophomore at Wesleyan, and he's going to tell us a little more. Gato, where are you?
Oh, physically, I'm in Wesleyan, but spiritually, I'm in Rwanda.
You're in Rwanda.
Yeah, so, yeah, my name is Gato. Like, I'm at Wesleyan right now. So, like, my winter break, I'm taking it on at Wesleyan. But, no, that's the flag for Rwanda. So, every day it reminds me of where I belong and the reason why I'm here. So at Wesleyan, I'm doing physics and international politics with a certificate in applied data analysis. So when I came to New York for my first time, and also like having the experience of, going to these successful big companies in the world. So I was always like eager to do something like science related sort of, but I knew deep I was interested in politics because I know with the politics, if you have like proper policies, that's something that helps like the community more, because whatever science you will have without proper leadership, you will never go anywhere. So I was like, okay, how can I put these things together? So like, okay, I'm interested in science, that's physics. I can do policies, that's international relations. So I was like, okay, maybe let me go for this. And with data analysis, like actually recently I had some sort of like a research I was working on. It's more like if age, like if age is really like a determinant for financial independence. So to me, I felt like knowing that young people, we eager to become successful at some certain age, but we don't actually know what it takes to be to that successful level as something interesting. So I got like a lot of like insight of how I can connect my science part with my interest in leadership, at the same time trying to look up into something like business, and also how like something I learned, like the UBS part of like, they have this program that helps the communities, like this is a profit organization, but at the same time doing some work to help the community. It was something that maybe in the future I will think about, because all in all, we're working to develop our country. So, and if I can focus on my businesses and maybe have something in the same business to help my community, would be something great. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. So now I'm going to introduce Grace, who's a sophomore at Rice University, also a LeFrak-Friedberg scholar. Where is Grace?
Hello.
Hi, Grace.
Hi, my name is Grace. I am from Rwanda. I am a sophomore at Rice University. I did major in psychology and managerial studies, and I have a business minor. So it's a bit much, but I enjoy doing them. So it's again not much. I love helping people, especially in regards to their mental and emotional health, but also I enjoy different business concepts. So I decided to put psychology and business together with the hope of working in human resources when I graduate from college. Last January, last January when the LeFrak-Friedberg Scholars got a chance to go to New York. I enjoyed the stay with my friends, but also we visited different companies and were hosted by professionals who were experts in what they do, which was inspiring. But also, as I was a freshman, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. So it was very inspiring to hear from them and their career paths, which helped me to be more certain about what I'm doing right now, that it's the right thing to do for me. So it's a pleasure to be here with you all. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Grace. And now we're going to hear from Eric, who's a sophomore at Cornell University, which is not the warmest place you could be right now, but he wanted to go to Cornell and he got in. So how are you, Eric?
I'm doing great. How is everyone doing this afternoon? Good.
How's Cornell treating you?
Pretty well. We're having the longest break ever. We still have like a month to go, so I'm kind of enjoying it right now. Yeah. My name is Eric. I'm Rwandan. I'm a student at Cornell, sophomore, currently studying bioengineering, which is like biotechnology, in other words. And so last January, it was an interesting trip. I live in New York, but like a different part of New York, not New York City. But I got a chance to go to New York City and the skyline was amazing. It was my first time there, though I've been living in the state, but didn't get a chance to go to New York City. So one thing that I remember in our trip to New York City, it was the trip we had with 2 Sigma. It was fascinating that after that trip, I actually decided to take a minor in like information and data science at Cornell. And I got a chance to actually be able to secure an internship with an Indian company So I will be doing data analysis and user interface analysis as well for the summer. So career-wise, I'm interested in like biotechnology and bioengineering. I like to build, innovate new stuff, or already existing product. For instance, this past semester, I was working with this professor. He got like $1 million grant from the Department of Energy. So he's trying to use microorganisms to extract like a rare mineral in the ground. So I got a chance to be able to work on that project for a little bit. And right now we're trying to find like the efficiency of that process, how much energy we're gonna have to spend. Is it renewable? Is it good for the environment? Things like that. So we're still doing the cost and benefit analysis. So as for what I want to do in the future, obviously I want to go back home and start my own pharmaceutical company and trying to help as I can. So when I was in high school, as many kids back home, we all want to be doctors. And sometimes it's impossible because, it's hard. Me personally, I don't see myself going all the way 10 years in school. So I wanted something that is related to the medical field that I can do in a short period of time and be able to help people. So that's why I chose bioengineering, so that I can work into the biotech and pharmaceutical industry. So thank you very much for having us today. Yeah, thank you.
I just want to say that we weren't able to get together in person in January, but I'm hoping that later this year we'll be able to all meet together in New York and have an inspirational time, and everyone will be invited. And right now there are 24 of you. So I can't wait to see you all in New York one more time and for this pandemic to be behind us. Now, I think it would be interesting for everyone to hear about your experience with the pandemic and what obstacle. I mean, did you go home? Did you stay at school? I'd love to hear from you. So maybe we could start with Grace.
Well, so I stayed at Rice when the pandemic hit until April, and then I got to go home in June and then came back in August to start the fall semester, and I was on campus the whole time. I was taking my classes online, which was very interesting and very tiring. Sitting in front of the screen all day was really exhausting, but I got used to it. My professors were understanding because it was something that all people were experiencing. So we explored that together. We didn't know how to do school online completely, but now I'm pretty comfortable doing that, which is what I'm going to do again in this spring semester. And it's much easier now, but it's still very challenging, especially for the classes that I take. Psychology, we do a lot of discussions and a lot of group work projects. So it's pretty interesting, but also a learning experience, I should say, because we are in different countries, different time zones. So we plan to be pretty flexible by now. So, yeah.
Gatto?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Right, Grace, when the pandemic hit, I decided like to go back in Rwanda and do the online classes. But then in August, I'm currently actually I'm a residential advisor. So I had to come because my school decided to have option of in-person classes. So I was a residential advisor of one of the dormitories here, which to me, I felt like it was the most blessing I ever had. Actually, I made this is like a tag for my residents. So every day, like when I just, everyone was in their room, but most of the time we could meet for some social distancing events. So to me, like having these people around me, I felt like it wasn't actually like online because, you have these people you care about and they care about you. So to me, it was more of a friendly way of kind of, adapting to this pandemic. So I can say I enjoyed my fall semester because I was the residential advisor, and having these people around me made me feel that at least some human beings are around me, people who we have the same aim of like studying, and having this academic environment was really like of great importance for me during the pandemic. And yeah, after that, for the winter, as I said earlier, I'm staying on campus, and we don't know yet what the university is going to decide, if we continue with the hybrid way or if they decide to go completely online. But I'm still much open because I believe, we're very few on campus, but having some sort of like people who you think have the same vision, like have the same reason to be in the same environment, it's more motivating with this time where, with a student, like you can lack motivation, like spending the whole day on the screen. It's not something motivating, but if you spend it, maybe when you go to grab food, you meet somebody, you talk about something maybe in a class, the sense of, academics comes back. But if I decide to go back in Rwanda, I'm in my room the whole day, and nobody actually like maybe understands what I'm going through, that could be a hard thing. So I'm here to decide if they choose to go online, if I'm to stay in the United States, or if I'm to go back and do like online classes in Rwanda. Thank you so much.
Great. Eric, do you want to let us know about your COVID experience?
Yeah, actually, let me start from what Gato just mentioned. When COVID started, I was in a dilemma of choosing, should I go home? Should I stay? So one of the reasons was like, if I go home, I won't have this group of people who truly understand what I'm going through. Or because though like the pandemic started on other schools, Cornell is like in the middle of nowhere. We kind of had like extra 2 weeks of like liberty without, the pandemic. But we could also still access like on campus resources. So decided to stay because of those reasons. Over the summer, I stayed as well. Cornell gave us the money for housing and food to stay over the summer for those who can't travel internationally because of the pandemic. Um, for this semester, this past one, the fall semester, I was taking some classes in person and other classes online. Mostly I would take lectures in person and then go for labs. No, lectures online and then go for labs in person. It was challenging, but also really appreciate Cornell's effort to help the students stay safe. Because I was talking to my friends my friend who goes to University of Rochester. He was telling me that the whole semester he got tested like once or twice. And at Cornell, we were being tested twice in a week, and we didn't see that many cases, and we could hang out. I think only the limit number of people who could hang out was like 30, and still we didn't get like too many cases. So I really appreciate Cornell's effort to help us stay well mentally and be able to finish the semester. So as for now, I'm still in Ithaca and I live off campus. So it's kind of easier for me to make a decision if I should go home or not, because I kind of do not rely on the university's premises, because sometimes they shut the dorms and you have no option but to go home. So I'm living off campus right now, so it's kind of easy for me. One thing, it's not a bright side, but that I kind of like for online instruction is that Cornell, like it's really cold. So and the school, it's like huge, and you have to walk to classes in a snowstorm. And so being able to take your classes where you are without, traveling all the way in snow, it was something that me personally, I appreciated. Yeah. I think that is my my experience with the pandemic.
Thank you, Eric. All right, well, thank you to the students that joined us today.